Winning the A-League in years gone by has actually meant that often clubs lose money. I know that sounds a little bit backwards, but it is actually true. Now, there have been some changes that have come in recently that means this is no longer the case. In fact, it actually makes winning the A-League much more lucrative, but only for 11 of the 13 teams involved. You remember this guy from the thumbnail? His name is Hiroki Sakai. He's the captain of the team that just won the 24-25 A-League Premiership. That's the trophy we give out for winning the league. But his team won't be able to benefit from the potentially exponential incentives of winning the A-League. And it's pretty unfair why. Okay, first, a short history lesson. In Australia, we give out the Premiership to the team that finishes on top of the regular season table, and then the Championship to the team that wins the eventuating grand final from the playoffs. That's the one that everyone really cares about. And yes, it looks like a toilet seat. The Aussies love that part. Do you remember that big drama about Messi's Inter Miami qualifying for the Club World Cup, for getting the most points in the MLS regular season but not being the real winners of the competition, that being the team with the MLS Cup? It's kind of the same vibe here in Australia. Winning the A-League Grand Final has always been the number one priority for teams, but that is shifting somewhat thanks to a new competition, the Champions League Elite. The Asian Football Confederation, or AFC, have just completely revamped their continental competitions. New names, new structure, and most importantly, more money. In the old Champions League format, Australian clubs would lose money, according to the PFA, unless they went, quote, well beyond the group stage. This is because of things like the ridiculous costs of the AFC's clean stadium policy, hosting delegates, and an extremely strict fine system. After all was said and done, balance that out against a relatively poor prize fund, and Australian clubs would often be left in the red. Sometimes there is success to be found. Adelaide United were the runners-up in this competition to Gamba Osaka in 2008, and the Western Sydney Wanderers won it all. But with the top spending of some of Asia's best clubs, it feels like those days are behind us. But regardless of how you perform, losing money in the Champions League shouldn't be the way it is. It's almost a moral quality. It should be a reward for domestic success, but Australia wasn't looking at it that way. But now it's different. The qualification prize alone should ensure teams cover their expenses, and there's a $100,000 US win bonus for every game in the 8-match league phase. And from there, the prizes go up and up all the way until a $10 million US prize for the eventual winners of the competition. Now, that might not mean much to Cristiano Ronaldo's Al Nassr or some of the other Saudi Pro League teams, but for an A-League club, that's everything. Well, again, at least 11 out of 13 of them, but we'll get to that. The A-League is currently in a deep financial crisis. This article from the West Australian suggests that the APL, the body that runs the league, spent around 50 million Australian dollars during COVID just to keep some teams alive. Clubs would have folded if this money wasn't spent. Throw in another 35 million on a failed media arm called Keep Up, and the league's coffers are running dry. The issue is so critical that the central distributions given from the league to clubs for things like broadcast revenue fell from a high of $3.6 million in 2018 to just a whiff over $500,000 in 2024. A-League clubs need cash, and desperately so. Now, some clubs are finding more success in the international transfer market of late, but the new Champions League Elite format offers the most lucrative path for more revenue. Suddenly, pushing hard for top spot in the league, which is currently the only place that qualifies from Australia, is so much more worth it for clubs, owners, and coaches. Don't get me wrong, the Premier's Plate is still a trophy, it's something worth celebrating, and no one was ever throwing it away, but now there is much more of a tangible prize on offer, especially when you remember that the prize for the Champions League Elite is also qualification into FIFA's new Club World Cup. In its first edition, awards at least another $10 million US for the Asian teams competing. So not only do the Premiers not lose money anymore, but the prizes on offer are extremely attractive, but not for everyone. You may know this already, but not all of the teams in Australia's top flight are actually Australian. Wellington Phoenix and Auckland FC, the club that was created in 2024 by AFC Bournemouth owner Bill Foley, are the two professional Kiwi teams, and they both play in the A-League. Auckland have even just closed out their first ever regular season by winning the Premier's Plate, an extraordinary achievement that they should be very proud of. but they won't be playing in the Asian Champions League Elite next season. Because they're a club that is registered in Oceania, they can't compete in Asian continental competition. But ironically, because they play in an Asian domestic competition, they can't play in the Oceanic Champions League either. And just to throw you completely in a headspin as well, no, Australia is not traditionally an Asian country either, at least geographically. We moved from Oceania to Asia in 2006 in search for more competitive games for our national teams. But anyway, as a result of all these contradictions, the Phoenix and the Black Knights are part of just a handful of professional clubs in the world that have zero path to FIFA's Club World Cup, and that needs to change. This is the reason why Auckland City, a team that has dominated semi-pro New Zealand football and the Oceanic Champions League for almost 2 decades, is the team going to America this year for the Club World Cup. So instead of record-breaking Auckland FC competing in the Champions League Elite next season, it'll be Melbourne City, who finished in second, and with all the prize money benefits that come with it. So yeah, winning the A-League Premiership is suddenly so much more enticing and brings with it potentially generational financial windfall, as long as you're not Wellington Phoenix or this season's premiers, Auckland FC. For more football stories from this side of the world, subscribe.